This is AchieveRadio.com. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/AchieveRadio.
My hair's getting a little higher. It's hitting the top of the screen.
That's hilarious. Yeah, it is actually. All right.
Gonna have to lower that a little bit. So, welcome to Magical Mofos. I am Diane Lantier of SoulRestoration.ca.
And I am Althea Montgomery from CreativeClearings.com. Yeah.
So, and we take callers live. So if you would like to have some guidance or some clearing done on any kind of issues, that's what we're here for, right? We use our magic and clear energy.
Clearing, guidance, chat about stuff, you know.
Yeah, offering different possibilities and maybe offering ways of seeing things that you haven't thought about. But the phone number is 602-666-6027 if you would like to call in. And in the meantime, also, we can go longer. We've got a second hour added.
We got a second
really
hour
cool.
added so people can call in and get fully cleared.
Because we can talk. So when we get callers, which is super fun, we sometimes have to stop people, before we're really done. And so now we can go longer if we need to, and then if we don't, we won't. It's just going to be totally,
fun and go with the
spontaneous.
Flow. Spontaneous.
So you and I have had like a super. Althea and I work with each other.
Yes.
And so we've cleared a lot of stuff in the last week. Is there anything that you wanted to talk about specifically? Sometimes we have ideas of.
Oh yeah, I got one right now. I'd love to talk about. Might be a little controversial, but great. This whole thing about sex stuff coming up. That keep hearing about it from so many women have been sexually assaulted. Things have been said, done, whatever. And I've actually seen the other side of it, where I've watched women sitting on top of men that are not interested, younger guys usually, and they're sitting there trying to be nice. And like women, I've noticed a lot of times, from my perspective in life, that they feel like, men just like it, so they can go up and grab men and do stuff that women would totally be in trouble for. So I just kind of wanted to put it out there that it goes both ways, and maybe we can be more respectful of everyone's physical boundaries. Because here's the thing, even if you're in a marriage or a committed relationship and maybe you've been intimate with someone before, that still does not mean that you can just go and grab them and touch them whenever you want. They still have the right to say, I'm not in the mood, I don't like that, and it would just be great if people saw both sides of it, and we were just more respectful of people's physical boundaries, because it's important. It really is. It's our choice if we want to be touched or not. And so I didn't know anybody talking about the man thing, and I don't go out
I did. I certainly have, and I did see some men post and saying that they had, and I think it's a situation where men. There are men who just don't get it, and then there are men who have also had it happen to them, and I think some of them don't they'd like to say, well, me too, but they feel like maybe they can't because they are men, and there seems to be so, and there is, I think that there is something to the whole, I agree with you. I also think that, beyond, so there is something to there is something about being a woman, in my experience anyway, as a woman, that I experience certain fears and certain insecurities in terms of where I'm going to go and alone and at what time of night am I willing to do it. Whereas my husband might go out and walk home at 2 a.m. Like I would never even, I'm worried about getting a cab at that time. And he's walking home and I'm like nervous about that for him, but he doesn't have that. He doesn't have that in his world, right? Because he's like a 6'2" man. Like it's not something that, you know what I mean? And I think most women, and not everybody, but I think that's a big difference in terms of how we walk through the world, that women generally have more of that fear of like what's going to happen than men. That doesn't say that men don't have it, and that doesn't say that all women have it, right? But I agree with you. It comes down to, like, I posted something this morning. One of the ways that I try to raise my son is to make him, I see a lot of things that happens in grown-ups or even at school, and it starts when they're little at home. And if we're playing and I'm tickling him or teasing him, I actually don't really, I tend to tease him. My teasing is very innocuous because I'm not much of I don't like hurting people's feelings, but if I'm tickling him, well, because my dad will tease him, right? Just like growling, like play growling, or just tease him. And then my son says, stop, and he keeps going. And I'll tell him, no, you have to, because I'm sure that's how it was done when I was a kid. We do that with children. They say to stop, and then we keep going because we think, well, we're just teasing. But when my son tells me to stop, I stop, and then I verbalize it. I say, by the way, I just want to say, we're just chatting about stuff. If anybody wants to call in, you don't have to call on this topic. You can call on anything, and we'll help you clear stuff. We're just chatting. We're just filling time. So yeah, I will say to him, so you said no, so I'm going to stop. And it just happened tonight before bedtime. I was tickling his feet, and he said, stop, mommy. And I stopped right away. And he's like, okay, you can keep going. Right? So I just, it's important for both girls and boys that we teach respect, and it's not about sex. It's about respecting other people when they say no, and be in your awareness too, like of whether, like I don't know, I was reading this one thread today on Facebook, and somebody was just completely kind of not getting it. And one woman wrote, geez, read the room, meaning like, read the room, get what's going on, maybe withdraw. And it's kind of a cool way to say it, I think, read the room of what's going on, and be aware of sometimes people, it's with their body language that they say no. Sometimes people are not always able to say no, and sometimes we say things that will trigger other people, even if it's innocuous. You just have to, and you can't walk on eggshells all the time, but be aware of how other people are receiving what you're giving. And I'm talking about the really sort of
talking about benign. The what?
I'm talking about benign stuff. But there's sometimes, even when you're not doing something that's a sexual advance or, something inappropriate, even what's inappropriate and what's appropriate is different for everybody. It becomes kind of a minefield, but yeah, I don't know what I'm saying anymore.
Yeah, it's just be a little more respectful, and if someone says no, I know it can be confusing, but go with no. And then if they get mad at you, like, I didn't mean no, I was just like, when did you chase me? Well, then we need to get that straight, because I'm not getting in trouble for, assaulting you. And I did see it with the men. The men damn sure were not able to say no. They were trying to be so polite to the women, and the women were grabbing and groping, and some of them were literally sitting on top of this man. And you could tell a couple different places. One, I was on a cruise, and they were chasing the bartender around, and it was absolutely ridiculous. And the thing is, you could tell that they weren't interested, but they were really going out of their way to be sweet. And just from what I've witnessed, it was oftentimes much easier for a woman to be like, get off me, dude, don't touch me. And these guys were trying to be overly nice because maybe they would have been made wrong there too. And just like the guys wanting to say me too, they're afraid to even put it out there that, something happened to them. But no means no. And even if someone's playing games with you and flirting, it's like, well, I'll just go with no. Hands off, I'm going with no. You're going to have to give me a notarized letter here that I can touch you.
And when you're in a bar or anywhere, really, don't just grab people that you don't know. Just don't do it.
Nope. I've been grabbed more times than I would like to count, and I couldn't believe it. Even one time when I was 16 years old, I was leaving an amusement park, and a guy came up and grabbed a big handful of my booty, and I started cursing him out a little bit. It was dark. There were a lot of people around, and it really scared me. And so I started saying some 4-letter words, and finally I hear this lady say, "Excuse me, there's children out here." And I said, "Well, lady, you need to watch your small children. There's some sick people out here." And it was like nobody even cared, except this guy's friends kind of got a little mad at him and said, "Don't touch her." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm underage right now. You're like at least mid-20s and you grabbed me." But it's the fact that people think they can just go around, grab you, do whatever they want, and laugh it off. But it's funny until it's not funny anymore. You don't know what someone's gone through. You could totally have touched someone that, has a horrible experience with something like that. It's just be a little more mindful for men and women. Everybody, just be a little bit more mindful and kind to each other. I just wanted to say that because so many people have been talking about it this week. And, So, pretty cool. So anything you'd like to talk about?
No, not particularly. Let's throw out the number again if anybody wants to call. 602-666-6027. I did a live feed on Saturday that I liked. Sometimes I do live feeds and I'm like, I have things in my head and I can't verbalize them very well. And but I did this live feed about polarity, living beyond polarity and duality. Because, I've heard and read a lot about duality, and, Cryon talks about duality, and I've talked about duality, and we say that how this is a in this reality or in this life or on the planet or whatever, we exist. See, I keep trying. Normally when you're on a phone or a tablet, you have to look into the camera. But when I look into the camera, it makes me look like I'm looking sideways. So I think I've got to just look straight on. Oh, so confusing. Okay.
One eye in the camera and one eye down.
Anyway.
Do you want to tell people what Cryon is in case they don't know? Maybe.
Oh, well, Cryon is a channeled entity, channeled by Lee Carroll. And Lee has been channeling Cryon for, God, I don't know, 15 years. Oh, we have a caller. I'm going to interrupt myself.
Go Google Cryon.
Yeah, Cryon.com, Kryon.com has really, really loving, beautiful messages. And so he talks about duality. I've talked about duality and how in this life it's a duality because we're spiritual beings having a human experience. But there's a lot in that actually trips us up and keeps us small and limited. And so I did a live feed on that. And anyway, let's go to our caller because that's way more fun than...
Way more fun. That's what we're here for.
Yeah, so let's go to Erica.
Hi.
Hi, Erica.
Hello. Hi.
Can you hear
How
us?
are you?
I'm good. I can hear. Well, I can hear one of you really clearly.
Okay. All right.
Which one of us can you hear?
I can hear you the most.
Yeah.
Okay.
Freestyle.
I'm the most important one.
Do we want to do a poll on the favorite mofo? Let's bring in some competition energy. We're going to battle next week. I always go the wrong way. Yeah.
Why you go the wrong way?
See, I'm almost love. I don't want to assault you.
No, she knows that I'm kidding. So, what can we do for you, Erica? What would you like to talk about or work on?
I was calling because I moved into a new place, and I just, every room in the house has amazing energy, except for my bedroom. And it seems like in the day it's completely fine, but at night, as soon as it gets dark, it just feels really heavy. And I don't mean, literally it looks dark, but it just feels heavy. And I found out that the place is an old hunting cabin that was built in the 30s. And there's like a secret room. If you go through one of the closets in the bedroom, it's like a cement room. And it was really like meant to store things like wine, and the guy who owns it put his records in it, and he hung out in it. He liked it. For me, I'm not so into it. I don't have any need for it. And I could be totally crazy, but it feels like it's coming from that room. And so one of the nights I had a dream that like a deer was being cut up. And I don't know if it was just like in my head because they told me what the house was before, or if that was something I was picking up on. But then I started like burning all the sage and just saying like if there's a spirit there and it needs me to help it in some way, that I can't like feel it or understand, that I don't mean any harm, but I can't sleep with its presence there. So could it please like let me know during the day if there's a way I can help it, but at night could it please like go away? And in a weird way, it actually seemed to help for a day or two. And then the last few nights, it just seems like it's like I'm waking up at like 2:33 in the morning, and I just feel like someone's in the room with me. It's really weird.
Althea, you want to take this?
You're totally weird, and someone is in the room with you. Okay, I do know Erica, so.
Oh.
I know Erica.
I thought she's from California. I thought maybe she knows.
No, I know her well.
So I'm definitely getting, of course there's energy there, and that's imprinted from what was going on there before, and you're just picking up on it. You're sensitive to it. So, I mean, we can definitely send energy and clear out the space for you. But here's the thing. Sometimes with certain areas, I mean, I don't really necessarily get that from this space, but certain areas where there was like battles, like Gettysburg and whatnot, like the energy is so heavily imprinted. I've had people that have lived in houses where they had to keep clearing it and clearing it and clearing it, where they finally just moved because there were so many entities there that it was like, a revolving door. And, they just were like, okay, I'm going to get out of here. I don't want to have to clear this every day. So can release, the energies in the house and clear up the house if you want. Totally do that. And
yeah, that would be great.
And I would suggest also, Erica, have you this is going to sound weird, but we're talking considering what we're talking about.
Are you kidding me? I just told you guys. Yeah, exactly.
Have you talked to the house itself?
I did before I moved in because I wanted to know. I walked in and I really loved it, and I had been sort of a gypsy for a few months, and it was also like it wasn't expensive, but it was definitely an expense, and it would be a big expense, and it felt so great. I don't actually know if it's really something that is from the old, like from before. Part of me feels like it's actually something that newly came in.
So the reason I was asking you if you'd spoken to the house is if you imagine that you're if you're the universe, if you're I feel like I'm talking in a weird. I'm gonna fix this. Okay. if you're an infinite being and you're as big as the universe, you can take up all of the space in the house. And just kind of like, you know, anything that's in there, just, there's no space for it anymore. And so what would it, you know, could you talk to the house and say to the house, hey, house, are you digging this other energy in here? And then if the house doesn't want it, you can be like, okay, well, let's let it go. Let's not allow this to be in here anymore. So anywhere that you've decided that you should let them stay, it's like, it's really interesting because this is, I mean, I don't want anybody thinking that I'm making light of the whole Me Too thing and the thing that Althea and I were talking about before, but it's the same kind of thing of like wanting them out, or out, but then like, it's not nice to do that, and I can't like just, you know, impose my will on it. So everywhere that you've decided that it wouldn't be kind for you to do that, and you've kind of given whatever might be there any power, will you just let all of that go now?
Sure.
Yeah. So if you just imposed you into the space and made your imprint on the space and be more powerful than whatever it is on the space, and then talk to the house about just, you know, out. Then there's no room for any of that in there, right?
And we do have another caller, just so you know. Erica, did you understand what she was saying?
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of what I thought I had already done when I was saying, like, please, like, please go. but I'll try that again.
So would you like me to clear the house for you real quick? Because you know, we can clear that out. But here's the thing. Absolutely true. Kind of on the same lines of what Diane's saying. If you keep carrying that belief around that anything can come into your house and affect you, you're going to keep bouncing around from house to house, and it's going to end up recreating the same thing. I really do see stuff that's imprinted, stuck in the walls a little bit, because I'm pretty positive the last tenant didn't clear out the energy in the space, and that just happens to be what.
Yeah. And also, sorry. I forgot to mention the house sat empty for a long time. So the owner lived in it, and then like an older woman lived in it, and then the owner's friend lived in it, and he really like didn't take care of it. So it was dirty, and just, I mean, the landlords were really upset when he moved out. And he was very close to the owner, and the owner actually loved the house so much that for a long time he didn't want to rent it to anyone. It's just like a very kitschy sort of little cabin that, you know, a lot of people wouldn't like anyway. But for me, I definitely, when it first happened, I felt like it's something that had been there for a long time. But then more recently, I was like, oh, well, you know, I didn't feel this when I first was there. But the truth is, when I was first there, the first 2 weeks, I actually left town. And so now that I'm thinking back on like when I actually slept there for the first few nights, it was the first few nights I had really slept there. The first night I left at 3 a.m. to catch a flight. So I didn't really ever sleep there. If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. So you want to go ahead and clear it?
Yes, please.
All right. So let's clear it, and let's go ahead and forget about when it started, how it started, and just clear all that old energy out and get yourself acclimated, clearing all the walls, ceiling, floor, all the way down into the earth. And
I'm gonna do some clearing around you, Erica, and any attachments you might have from other lifetimes with whoever's in there.
Great, thank you.
Going to delete out any expectations you may have to recreating this. Anywhere you think that this needs to take a long time or be difficult, and just allow it to leave now.
So you said it's a space behind a closet. Is that it?
You actually go through the closet. Well, and that's the main closet where like my clothes and things are. It's more like a cabinet. It's not on the ground. It's like up above. It's the middle of the wall. It has a cabinet in the side, and one of the sides of the cabinet is just a normal cabinet with shelves, and the other side of the cabinet is open, and you could put stuff in it, and then you could crawl through it if you jump up into the cabinet and go into this like cement room.
Okay.
And I actually had asked the landlord if they would close it because I had no purpose for it, but the owner of the house loves it and thinks it's the coolest thing ever. So he was like, why would you ever want to close it? So he owned a record store, and I think.
And I'm wondering if there's something that you could. I'm wondering if there's something that you could put in the space just to sort of to help. I mean, Althea's doing some clearing, but to shift the energy in it, because if you keep thinking about it in terms of this like creepy space, then it opens it up for more.
It's not creepy. It's not creepy. I shouldn't say it's creepy. It's just odd. You know, it's just a peculiar sort of. I've never seen anything like that before, and it was actually when I first was getting the place, I didn't think about it at all. I mean, I actually thought it was funny. And when I said, hey, can you board it up? Because, you know, it was more for me. I was like, oh, there might be like spiders and dust and things that will accumulate. And they asked him, and the owner was like, no, I think it's really cool. She should do something with it. She should put like a lava lamp in it and like hang out in it. So, but I could put something in it. I mean, it's a bit of a pain to get to. You have to like kind of climb on the bed and like hoist yourself up into the cabinet. But I definitely could put something in. I have no problem doing that. It's and I could also like put my suitcases in it or use it for storage in some way. Also.
Yeah, do that. Because it's closed up. That was me closing a portal. That was a big freaking portal.
Yeah.
Just put something in there that feels good. If you put luggage in there, then it just kind of like deactivates like that's just for luggage. The energy of it's closed, so just do whatever you can to keep your mind off of it. It's already closed up. Okay. It's done. It's good. But it was pretty powerful and funky and weird. I mean, stuff happens. All good.
Yeah, it's been
so
there.
You go in your house all fresh and clean now.
Okay, amazing. Oh, thank you so much.
You're very, very welcome. All good. Just think positive thoughts about it and make it look pretty and sparkly for you. Whatever makes you feel comfortable, that's what's important.
Yeah, I think I might just I'll put my luggage in there, but I think I might maybe I'll just put some other things in there, like, you know, personal things, like in pictures or, I don't know, things I need storage for.
Yeah.
Yeah, and don't forget, you know, just for a little while until it's because it's one thing to know, okay, it got cleared, Althea cleared it, blah, blah, blah. But, you know, it's easy to just like kind of cycle back into play the same record. So that's why I'm thinking like when you walk into your house or if you're in the house now or whatever, just energetically just fill up the space with you so that there is no space for anything else. And make that what you do every time you walk into the house. So that becomes your new routine and you're not thinking about, you know, nooks and crannies and spaces where anything else can be. Just like, this is mine. Right?
Yeah, no, that's great. I mean, every time I walk into the house, I like burn stuff. So I think just saying what you're saying will be really helpful.
Perfect.
Amazing.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for calling.
Of course.
All right. Have a good night.
Okay, bye. So we'll go to Pat from Washington. Hello.
Hello. Hi, how are you?
Okay.
Great. How are you, Pat?
I'm okay. I could be doing better, I guess. That's a very interesting show. I think this is the first time I've called into your show. And I was just wondering about the information or ways that you can give me to make a decision on. I have two very promising jobs that may come through for me, and I'm trying to figure out what I need to do to tell myself which one would be the better one for me.
Oh, I like it. You're not actually asking us to tell you. You're trying to figure out how to. I like it. I like it.
Yeah, but what can I tap into? What can I tap into to I guess my higher self to tell me which would be the best way to go?
Okay, can I go ahead, Althea?
No, please do.
I would suggest, Pat, that I know that we talk about higher selves, but what if I just want to start with this, and then we'll talk a little bit about it. But what if you thought about it in terms of that you know it, you have that awareness, and you don't have to tap into some other part of you that's somewhere else, because that's kind of how, when we were talking about higher selves, we're talking about the sort of separate part of us that's not in the body, right? Mm-hmm. So what if you have the awareness with you in your body, because you're all, what's in your body is part of what's outside of the body as well, right? So I just wanted to say that first, because so that you're not thinking about it in terms of having to tap into this mysterious place that's outside of you, and people think they've got to reach this certain thing in order to get it, and really you just have the awareness. You're just it. So you said there's 2 possible jobs. Is that it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. One is closer to me. Both have pros and cons, as usually anything does. One is closer to me in D.C., and one is in...
You're kind of cutting out. I don't know if it's just me, but I'm having a hard time hearing what you're saying.
Oh, I said one is closer to me in D.C.
Oh, that's way better.
And the other, yeah, and one is closer to, and one is in Maryland. It's a little bit further, but the commute time, when you think about going to D.C. and Maryland, I may have to get up a little earlier, but it has other pros that the other one doesn't have.
Okay. So have you been offered both of them?
One of them right now, the one in Maryland.
Okay. And were you hoping to wait to see if you get the other one and make a decision, or like you don't want to shut down, close the... Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So is it because you would rather have the other one, or it's because you...
That's what I'm wondering. I'm moving towards the one that I've been offered, since I've been offered that, but I'm supposed to hear back something this week on the one in D.C. And it's like, why am I hesitating? I mean, I'm moving towards, I pretty much already accepted the one in Maryland, and so I'm like, I can't figure out why I'm not going on. Is it something still that I feel uncomfortable about? Why do I still want to wait, for this to hear from the other one?
Okay. Althea, did you want to jump in? I can keep going, but if you have something, please go ahead.
Is it okay for you if you actually, for whatever reason, prefer to have the one in Washington?
Well, that has pros and cons too. Like, they don't have benefits, but and the possibility of the money is not the same. The benefit is that it's closer, it's a smaller office, and I like that. I don't have to get up as early, but they don't have benefits right now. But it's a kind of upstart company, so they're just starting up, and they're growing right now. Whereas the other one is more established.
Okay, so do you feel like maybe you're used to staying in that area, and maybe it's a little bit of holding yourself back where it's a comfort zone for you, whereas the one in Maryland feels much more expansive for you, possibly? A little out of your comfort zone?
I think that's what it is. It's going to require, and people do this all the time, it's going to require that I have to get up and earlier and then get a MARC train. I'm not used to like getting a MARC train to go, but people commute like that all the time. It's not going to take me like 3 hours to get there. It'll take me about an hour and a half, which is, if you go in certain parts of D.C. on the buses, it takes you that too. So I think it's just, maybe I'm just a little uncomfortable because I have to get up earlier. I think that's the main thing.
Yeah, that's what I was getting to.
So, Pat, when you're not thinking about it, if you try to like bypass the thinking and just be in your body, which one lights you up?
Which one does what now?
Which one lights you up?
I think the one in Maryland more because it's more. From what I can gather, it's more money. It's established. They have more like gifts.
Yeah, but
like
you're thinking about it.
contests.
You're thinking about all of the pros and cons. And what I'm asking you is if you just be with the energy of each job. So if you tap in, I'm going to ask you to be a bit of a magical mofo right now. So if you tap into each job, the job in Washington and the job in Maryland, and you don't think about the pros and cons, and you just be with the energy of both of them, which one feels lighter? Which one lights you up?
I'm thinking now. Let's see.
Yeah, and I don't want you to think. So
Thinking.
Just when I think about it, what feels like? Well, okay. It seems
put
like
your
the
brain
Maryland
away.
one.
Just be with the energy of the Washington one, and ask yourself. So truth, would the Washington one contribute to your life?
Yes, but it doesn't make me feel more as stable as the one in Maryland. It doesn't make me feel that it's more opportunity there. That's what it is. I like it as a startup. It to me feels good. It's if I had absolutely nothing else being offered, then it seems like a good startup where I can get in on the ground floor and maybe move up in the business. But the one in Maryland makes me feel like I'm going to really be somewhere where they're stable and I can make a good amount of money to really get on my feet.
If the job in Maryland were actually in Washington, which one would you take?
Oh my goodness, then it would be hands down.
Okay.
Hands down, it would be. I wouldn't even be calling.
Okay. And then who knows what kind of magic can happen on that commute? The people you might meet, I don't know. You can't know ahead of time where things will lead, right? You might be in a different job in a year because you met somebody and something happened, and then you end up back in Washington closer to you can't, just because you're taking this job doesn't mean you're going to be in it forever, right? So that's why I'm trying to get you to tune into the energy of each job and see which one will be the greatest contribution to your future. As opposed to, well, it means that tomorrow I'm going to have to wake up, or tomorrow I don't have benefits. You never know where one thing will lead to other things. And so if you go with the energy and go, well, this one feels more like it's going to contribute to my future, to the future that I desire, and more than that one, then you follow that one.
Right. The one in Maryland feels more like that. It feels more like I really have an opportunity to get on my feet, more than the one in D.C. does.
Right. So to me, that's your answer. I don't know, Althea, what would you like to?
Well, I'm just wondering, Pat, if you are willing and able to just let go of anywhere you're afraid you're going to make a wrong decision.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just kind of feel that energy coming up. Huh?
I'm not understanding. Let go of what?
Feeling any kind of fear that you're going to make a wrong decision. Like, because that energy of waiting. Because if I said to you right now, because I'm psychic too and I do know stuff, but that's not what we're here to do. But if I said to you right now, you're not going to get that job in Washington, how do you feel? Don't think about it. What's the feeling? You didn't get that job in Washington.
You know what it feels like? It feels like a little letdown, like anything. I feel a little letdown. Mm-hmm. Because I kind of I do feel a little bit let down immediately, and this, I guess, just like you would feel failure for anything. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
it feels like that.
So what if you're just kind of sitting there waiting, because you do have a lot of energy going towards Washington too, where you would take that job, you would gladly take it. Like, you're pretty open to both of them. So it's almost like you're taking the choice out of your hands and just letting, like, the universe do its magic, but really trying to pull yourself out of choosing. When, if you really sit with it, whichever one you choose, it's not wrong. You're not going to mess it up. Wherever you go, you can't mess up. It's not about choosing something and going, oh, crap, I was wrong about that. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So is it okay if I shift some energy for you around just thinking that you're going to make a wrong decision so that you can just allow yourself to know more? Okay, so just take a nice breath. Just relax. We're going to go ahead and ground your energy out a little bit. Just feeling yourself in your body, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Just releasing any heavy, dense, stuck energies, any things, beliefs around confusion, distortion, anywhere you feel like you can't trust yourself, anywhere you're holding on to energy from the past where maybe you chose something and it didn't turn out the way you wanted it to, so then you made yourself wrong. Let's just release all of that. Any overthinking, anywhere you're going into thought loops and overthinking and just kind of keeping yourself distracted from actually choosing something. Just pulling it out. And let's go ahead and remove any blockages to you allowing your physical body to give you awareness too of what actually feels good for you and light for you and right for you. So just take a breath, and we're going to go ahead and bring in that energy and activate that your physical body is now able to communicate to you when something is a yes or a no for you. Breathe it in. And you're not figuring it out, so we're going to go ahead and delete out anywhere you're trying to overthink and figure things out. And again, just reinforcing that you're able to clear yes for you and what's no for you. No need for validation or explanations from anyone else. No calculating what's right here and what's right and wrong at that other job. You just go by which one feels like a yes or which one feels like a no. Breathing it in.
And anywhere that you bought the lie that you have ever failed at anything. Anywhere that you're buying the lie of the concept of failure or success.
Okay.
Let's let all of that go now.
And anywhere you're afraid you're going to get stuck or trapped at one of the jobs or any job.
And anything.
Yeah, anything. We're stuck, trapped. Anytime you commit to something, you're stuck there. That's a very common energy that hangs around people.
You're right.
Right? Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, it might be that tomorrow it means that tomorrow you have to commute, and you have these things that happen, but it doesn't mean what's going to be on that first day of work doesn't mean it's going to be forever. You could choose a different job. You could get a different job in the same organization. The conditions could change. Like, anything can change, right? But it's when we start, we see something and then we decide, okay, that's what it is and that's what it always will be. So then you just keep recreating that, right?
Okay, I see. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So let's expand your idea of possibilities for jobs beyond these two jobs as well. Let's just bust that out. And just allow yourself to be open to other job opportunities that you never even thought of. And just feel that energy floating in.
Yeah.
May feel lighter, may feel tingling, may feel nothing at all, but it's moving.
Yeah, I really think that you have an awareness. Oh, sorry, Althea.
Oh, no, go ahead.
I was just getting that, Pat, that you have this awareness, and it sounds weird to say you might not be aware of the awareness, but you have an awareness of what's possible for you that you have really been dampening down because other people around you haven't had that same freedom or haven't had that same awareness of possibility, and so you've shut yours down a bit. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. It does.
Yeah. So, and I think that's kind of what Althea was tapping into, and to sort of opening up for you all of the world of possibility in terms of a job, right? Because anywhere that you have been limiting yourself, like it's almost like you consciously shut things down because they're just outside of the world of what other people know, other people that you know of what they know. And so it's like these two lives of like, I'm going to stay here because that's what the people I know, but there's this whole other world here that I'm not allowing myself to bust out into.
This is not a valid menu option.
And yeah, that sounds totally right. Totally right.
Perfect.
I think just that, because like I said, if this was in DC,
did you hear that, Pat?
Did you hear the words, what was just said? As she was talking about more options, that is not a valid menu option.
That's funny.
I have no idea where that came from.
That is hilarious.
Thank you, universe. That's hilarious. Oh my gosh.
So choosing more of the same is not a valid
No,
menu
and
option.
after awareness is not a valid menu option. So everybody out there, stop it. That was creepy.
So so Pat, anywhere that you've done that, and everywhere that you're doing that out of a kindness, because I don't get that with you, that it's about, but sometimes people do that because out of a fear of rejection, that they'll lose their tribe, they'll lose their family, they'll be rejected if they step out and they be different. And I think with you, it's more it's more from a place of thinking that you're being kind towards them. So everything that is, would you be willing to just shift all of that now, clear all of that out, and allow you to just be like the awesome, kick-ass person that you are, and just busting out? And that doesn't mean that you don't take the job in Maryland. It just means that you just allow you to be more of you in every way, and allow all of these different possibilities to exist for you. Does that sound good?
That's what. Yes, it does. And, it's just like basically you all saying is this: you gotta step out there. You gotta step out there and trust yourself, right? And just trust your instinct.
Absolutely. And a lot of people can't do that. They're afraid to trust themselves, right?
Right. Exactly.
Because we give other people more power. We listen to other people before we listen to us. So everywhere that you've been choosing that, because other people have chosen it, would you be willing to let all of that go now?
Okay. I'm just taking a deep breath, like you said.
Yeah, and then you may get resistance from other people.
Oh yeah.
If you change a little bit and you're like more you, you might get some resistance to that. But at the same time, there will be people who will really embrace that, right? And you'll inspire other people to be more of them. So it doesn't have to be. So sometimes when people get that, what is this that I'm getting?
Woo, what is that?
Yeah, sometimes people will get they'll get pushback, right? I'm not talking rejection, but I'm getting more of like a resistance. I think that's what I was saying. So if you do get resistance from people, sometimes when people encounter that resistance, they shut back down because they don't even want to deal with it, right? And if you just flow through life just being you and not giving that any meaning, or not giving that any attention, or not giving that any power, that somebody else is resisting it, then you don't need to encounter the resistance with trying to either, you don't have to defend who you are or change who you are to meet the resistance. You can just ignore it. Just let them be resistance if they want to. Does that make sense? Like you can you're so huge that you can just, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if people are resisting me. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes a whole lot of sense.
Okay. I don't know this is going to sound funny, but I keep getting this vision of, I'm just going to say it. You know how Oprah Winfrey commands a room and she just like glides through a room, and I'm just like seeing her in this like flowy kind of like Oscar-like gown, and just like, like commanding the space, and I'm sure that she has her times when she's affected by what people say, but she commands the space, and she is her, and she allows her energy to be everything it is, right? And that's I keep having that vision when I'm thinking of you, and I think that that's the energy that you be, and I think that that's or even greater, and I don't know how that sits with you, but it's
I think it's.
I
I
think
think. I think that's correct because one of the things is that when you were saying like being awesome or whatever, the positions that I'm seeking are what historically I have
I
been
can't hear you very well
exceptional
again.
in.
Can you?
Oh, the positions that I'm looking at are what I have historically been very exceptional in. They're sales positions, and I've won a lot of awards in sales and everything. And I had gotten out of it for a while, but I've been exceptional in it. So
Yeah,
I
because
think
you're
that
super magnetic. You've got a magnetic personality. Of course, you're gonna sell stuff. Yeah.
yeah, thank you. So I think I can contribute a lot, and they feel I can too, especially the ones in Maryland. They really like my background, and so. Yeah, and so like I said, I've always been extremely good in sales. So I don't have a thing about that I can't do it. It's just that I was just trying to figure out why is my whole I've been offered this. I pretty much accepted it. So why am I waiting for this other one? Why what's wrong?
Nothing's wrong. Do you notice how much
Yeah.
lighter you feel about it? Do you feel that
What's
now?
that
Do you feel
now?
how much lighter you feel?
Yeah, I do. I do now. Now
You're
I
like
don't
me
feel.
when
Now
you're
I
like,
don't feel
I'm
like
going to
it's a pro.
Maryland. Your energy is
I feel
saying I'm going to Maryland. You got all excited when we were talking about it. That's what it's like
right.
feeling like.
Oh yeah, I've,
So
I've I've made the decision now, and I'm not even going to wait for the other one because now
yeah,
I feel like I know where I want to go.
awesome. And can I ask you something, Pat? Are you used to having problems? Because it sounds
You,
like you're making sure there's a problem. It's like I'm gonna either wait for the other job to come in which case I have the problem of having two jobs to switch to pick from, or I'm creating the problem of waiting for the other one, which might create a problem with them. Like it's a lot of creating problems when you could just, you know,
it is. It is.
yeah,
That's why I was
and
saying, you know what? Maybe
even
they can.
the fact that you were unsure, you're saying you're making that a problem. You're saying, you're making yourself wrong for that. And what's the problem there? And like Althea said, there is no problem.
It was within me.
Yeah. Well,
Within me because it was just like, okay, this is the one I feel excited about. I feel very excited about it. And the other one just, to me, it didn't have the same pros. And I was like, why? I've been offered this.
yeah.
I pretty much accepted it. So what
Let's
is
just
the
say
issue?
that you made up the problem. Let's not say the problem is inside of you. Let's just say you made up the problem.
Okay. Okay. So I made it up. Okay, and that's just fear. That's fear of that a fear really I shouldn't have, given I know it's a business that I know and have been very good at. You would think I wouldn't have that fear, right?
It could be fear, and it could also be, like I was saying when I said, are you used to having problems? Excuse me,
Oh,
we
I'm used to having
often
problems.
create stuff because in this world, people are always, everything's a problem. And when you talk about the possibility of not having problems, that just doesn't seem like possible to people. It's not real. It's not a real human life. You're not being real if you
Fake human
have no
life.
problems. And
That is
so
so
like we
true.
create shit just because
Hmm.
that's what
Just
we
because
do.
we're used to it.
And what if this was the easiest job transition you'd ever had, like, and then the next one was even better? Like, what if you created jobs more easily than anybody else with no problems?
Right.
God forbid.
That's what I appreciate about when I was listening to you all talking to everyone else. I was like, that's exactly what I need to know how I guess to get those blockages out of there. Find out, why am I making this issue? I got something I like it a lot. So why am I creating more problems around it?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Pat, sometimes we make oftentimes we make problems because we're bored. And you said you took some time away from selling and you were a superstar seller and you had so much stuff going on. Maybe you got a little bored. We do often create a lot of problems. Boredom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I did, and I've got into, and then I work in a retail and pharmacy now as a pharmacy technician, where I'm on my feet all the time, which is killing me. But and I was like, I think I like to get back in sales. So
yeah, if that's fun for you, yeah, do that. You're bored. You've been a little.
And now
bored.
you have time to rest on the train.
Yes, you have time to rest on the train and meet some new people, maybe.
Right. Look, I really appreciate you all. I know some more people probably holding on to talk to you.
No, actually, there's nobody else on. So.
Oh.
Nah, if you got anything else, whatever you want to do. Nobody else. Nope, nobody else right now.
Well, you all have been absolutely wonderful in helping me break through a lot of the negative thinking. That's really what it boils down to. I'm thinking that, I'm trying to decide, but it's really just negative thinking holding me back. And you all kind of made me see that. So I really appreciate you.
And I want to add something else, too. There's a lot of stigma around sales.
Yes.
So can we clear that around you so that you're not carrying any of that? Because if you're really good at, there's nothing wrong. I mean, we all buy stuff, and we need people to sell stuff in order to buy it. Yet there's a lot of crappy energy around sales and being salespeople, and so let's clear all of that so that we kick that up a notch even more. And there isn't any of that residual stuff around, so that you're not only a super sales lady, but that you're also not carrying any of that negative energy and not picking it up from the world around you too, that there's anything wrong with being a salesperson. Does that make sense?
Yes, indeed. I would love that.
Do it.
So we're going to do that.
Woo. Woo. Wow, that's sticky.
So I take deep breaths, right?
Yeah, just breathe. Just relax.
Yep.
Sit back and receive.
What's that?
Wow.
Was that you, Althea, making that sound?
Probably. There's a lot of stuff moving and it's making my temperature go up. Pat, you have
Are you empathetic? Are you empathetic? Are you an empath? Because I'm having a hot flash. I hope if you're an empath, maybe you're feeling it.
Everything. I am super duper sensitive to the extreme.
Pat, you might be feeling
I'm
hers,
having a hot flash. So that might be what you're feeling.
Yeah, you might be feeling Althea's hot flash.
That happened earlier during a session. My temperature went up like 30 degrees, and then the person said at the end, they're like, "Oh my God, I'm sweating right now." So who knows where it started, but just keep breathing. It's all good. But I was saying, Pat, you have such a capacity. I want to get the wording right here. You have such a capacity to really change people's lives. And I don't want you to go into figuring out how you're doing that, but it just keeps
Oprah.
coming at me. Yeah, she's, equating you to Oprah, to that magnitude. And I don't want you to think, I'm just selling stuff, whatever. No. You just being and you being around people, you are changing their lives. I have cold chills right now. So something was telling me to keep saying that to you.
Yeah.
Oh.
Even you being on here, you're helping change people's lives. Talking to us right now.
Oh, this whole salesperson thing, we're clearing more than you, Pat. There's a lot of stuff going on here.
Because you love sales, and people are so judgmental about sales, and you have such a brightness about sales. I've never felt that in anyone before.
Mm-hmm.
Never.
Okay. I do love sales. I think I just wanted a break from it, but I'm ready for it again.
It's fun, right? You know, you feel all twinkly and sparkly when you talk about sales. I've always hated sales, so I'm like, give me some of that association she has with sales, because it feels really good and light and expansive with you. It doesn't have that yuckiness around it.
Mm-hmm.
Woo-wee.
Mm-hmm. That's true. I do love sales.
Yes, we love sales.
Yeah.
Let's love sales.
And don't shut out the possibility. So, you know, we're really used to in this world, in this life, of doing one thing, having one job. You've got your full-time job, you go home, you have your dinner, you whatever, right?
You do your Mofos show.
Yeah, you listen to the Mofos on the Monday night. But a lot of us need a lot more going on than just the one thing. Like,
right.
I have a regular job. I have Monday to Friday office job. I do this. I have my energy work. I have a family. Like, I have a lot going on. And sometimes people say, "Oh my, how do you do it?" And it's like I'm just doing it all. Like, I'm not doing anything that I don't enjoy. Even my office job, like, I'm not doing anything that I don't enjoy. So it's easy for me to do. And yet I still have time to sit on the couch and just watch TV sometimes, even though I'm probably doing other stuff while I'm doing that. So I really feel like there's more available to you. I think that's part of the big energy that we're feeling around you, is that even though this job will be joyous for you, and you will bring the joy to it, right? You bring the joy wherever you be. It doesn't matter what you're doing, where you're doing it. It's you that carries it with you. We should never be looking for it outside of ourselves. Just like when I was talking about your higher self, not separating that and having it be something outside of you. Joy is not something that you achieve or that you find outside of you. It's you. It's in your natural being, right? We just learn that that's not natural, or we learn that it's not normal, or we learn that there are things that there's so many things in the world that you're not supposed to be joyous about, that you're like, oh, well, then I shouldn't be joy, right? But you have that joy inside of you. You've got that big ebullient, that's the word, ebullient is the word I want to use. Ebullient, like
ebullient,
like bubblicious.
Word of the day.
It might be from French, like bouillir. Anyway, whatever. I'm pretty sure bouillon is a word. And that big energy is not going to be contained in this job. So that doesn't make the job wrong, right? And you're just going to transcend the job. You're going to kick ass at it and do really good. But just be aware that there might be other things that you want to add to your life to keep things popping, to keep things joyous, to keep things going. And that never means that job is wrong, or that you made a mistake taking it. In fact, I really do think it's going to open up more opportunities, and it's going to open up a whole new world for you. But be aware that there might be other things. And then when other things come, other possibilities come that you could be doing, just be aware that you're not shutting down one for the other, because you don't have to just choose one big thing in your life. You can be and do many, many things at the same time. Okay?
That is it's so funny that you said that, because one of the things I had been thinking about was that in the healthcare field, I still would like to do something in the healthcare field. Like, I would like to open up a healthcare store, like, homeopathic medicine and vitamins and stuff. And I was thinking to myself, well, I can still take classes like that while I'm working this job. I don't have to give up that. And I was just, it's funny you said that, because that's exactly what I was thinking about, even though that's different a lot, but I still want to do something in healthcare.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yay. Cool.
So cool. Yeah.
So I was like, well, maybe I can, I don't have to shut down that dream just because I'll be doing something else.
Don't shut down any of your dreams.
You just addressed it.
Listen to Althea.
Don't shut down any of your dreams. Any people out there, no shutting down dreams. If they're a dream, they're there for a reason, and you follow them. You bring them
now
in.
They can change. They can change. But they can change, but don't shut them down.
They can change, but don't shut them down because you're like, oh, it's too much, can't have it. No. you change it, that's one thing. But if you're saying settling, oh, I don't see how this is possible, then that's not the reason to drop a dream. No, you have so many cool things you're going to do. And now you've just expanded into more. You're going to allow yourself to do more. You already have some ideas. See, we're just swooping some distortions and illusions out of the way so that you have that awareness of what you already wanted to do. You just weren't allowing yourself to see it. You were just like, oh, that's cute. That's a cute idea. And you put it off to the side.
Yeah. You might even find that the journey you find yourself on with this new job in Maryland actually brings you closer to that dream.
Oh, it might be. It might be. That would be great too.
In a way that you could never even imagine today. And that's the magic of, that's the magic of following your awareness and following the lightness and following, what lights you up.
Right.
And you're on the path of what lights you up, then you're going to be doing the things that light you up. It's like not much more complicated than that, really.
It's kind of like Dr. Seuss, right?
We should write a book. We should write a kid's book like that.
Follow what lights you up. It ain't that complicated.
By the magical Mofos.
Yeah, we should write a book. That would be cool. Pat, we definitely want you to call back. I want to know how you're doing. You can always call back and ask for clearings, but I do want to know how you're doing. I'm very excited for you.
Yeah.
Thank you. And you all have been just so wonderful, and you've done so much more for me than probably you even can feel. You've helped me a whole heck of a lot now.
Thank you. And, thank you so much.
Thank you for doing the clearing. Thank you for doing the clearing with me, too.
Thank you, sweetie. Welcome. Thanks for calling.
All right. What a dork. Thank you, Pat.
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Have a good night.
Are you tearing up?
I was. That's sweet. I mean, that's why we do what we do, Diane,
I know, totally.
Yeah.
So, I'm just going to, I'm just putting a...
What is it?
Oh, yeah, so there's nobody else on the line. If anybody else wants to call, we are starting to go, we're in our second hour, and we'll stay on if somebody calls in, and otherwise we're not going to go for the whole second hour.
We'll stay on for like 20 minutes or something just to give an opportunity.
We'll see. I think we've got, what time is it? Yeah, we've got another 10 minutes if anybody else wants to call in. If you want to call in, we'll go past 10 minutes, but if nobody calls, let's just talk about this for 10 minutes.
We'll think of something to talk about for 10 minutes.
Let's get. Oh no, we can't sing. Oh man, I keep wanting to.
Right, I wanted to sing something earlier, and I was like,
So the number to dial in is 602-666-6027. By the way, next week is my birthday, next Tuesday, and so Saturday evening, there's a Chinese restaurant here in Ottawa that has karaoke on Saturday night. So guess what we're doing for my birthday?
Oh my gosh. Someone's asking for the call-in number again. Can you say it again? Oh, it's 602. It's at the bottom of the screen. Someone was...
Yeah. But if somebody's... Yeah, it's either on the screen or if people are listening off the radio, it's on there. But 602-666-6027. Yeah, so... I have a gaggle of friends, and we're going to go to karaoke on Saturday night, and I will be singing all night.
Well, considering I'm a singer, it's really hard for me not to burst into song every 5 seconds, and Diane and I like to sing back and forth to each other, so you have no idea how much we're holding back. There's a song for
I constantly have music going through my head. Like the most random word will spark a song in my head, and I do it even in my group sessions. Sometimes sometimes pretty much every group session, I just burst into song, like just a few lyrics. When the words come through, people laugh. Let's talk about. That was a great call with Pat, and we were talking about dreams and it's very interesting. Like I find Yeah, like you don't want to let anybody else squash your dream, but at the same, it is true that sometimes they change, and sometimes we get trapped in the dream. Like the dream is no longer the dream, but we're still kind of caught in what we think the dream is, even though it's actually not true for us anymore. So that's another thing that happens sometimes.
I think more often people give up on their dreams, though. They're like, oh nobody gets it. My friend would always say the crabs in the bucket syndrome, where the crabs will pull the other crab back in the bucket. And they're like, oh, you can't expand any bigger than us. Don't go out there. It's safer here. We're not choosing. You better not choose it, too. Sound familiar to anyone out there?
But also, don't you think that sometimes people choose their dreams based on what other people have dreamt of?
Yeah, but I'm referring to real dreams, like ones that are real for them, for the individual people. Because I mean, when working with people, I'm seeing beyond. I'm seeing right through them, and I'm seeing what's really in their heart, what they want to do. And I'm always swooping that out, like that's not even yours. You don't even want to do that. And then helping them to get clarity and admit to themselves that they don't even want to do said dream or whatever. But yeah, I'm talking about the real dreams, not the fake dreams.
Said dream.
Call in and tell us about your real dreams. Call in, we'll make your dreams come true.
Oh, that's a big promise. I am not guaranteeing that.
I didn't say anything about a guarantee. It's all words.
So we have Bill. Is Bill the one who was asking you for the number? We have a Bill on the line.
Is that right?
Bill from California. Is this Bill, our producer?
Yes, is this Bill the producer? All right. Hello? Are they there?
I'm here.
Hi.
Oh, hi.
It's Phil. It's not Bill.
Phil. Yes. Oh. Phil, not Bill. Phil. I was like, all right. That sounds better. How you doing,
Phil?
Hey,
guys. I'm doing amazing, as you know.
Yes, I know, yes.
So that you know this one, too, Althea?
Phil's awesome.
We had an amazing session
Phil's a client of mine.
It was.
Oh, cool. Okay.
We had an incredible session today, and going back into the wild. Everything. My awareness is so bright right now, and I'm still sweating, literally sweating from this afternoon session.
You have to wear shades. Insane. Is the future so bright that you have to wear shades, Phil? I didn't sing it. I just said it.
Yes, exactly. And so, one of the things that I notice a lot is that after these incredible sessions, my body and everything and old conditioning, you go out into the world and the world is like, okay, I'm still here and you're this intense ball of light. And I feel my body sort of contracting and interacting with, with life. And there's so much energy running through me. And so I think, I guess I'm curious about the contraction, and I'm curious about how to have a smooth reentry and to keep things in that place also, keep that wonderful as much as possible and stay grounded, embodied, but also keep not shut down, right? Not shut down in the ways that historically that happens. And there's been a long upwards trajectory, which is amazing. And I guess in the short run, that sort of back and forth between high cosmic plane and then coming back into the body, into the real world, into the chaos of reality that can be not so that can be bumpy sometimes. And then letting go also of that expectation of bumpiness as well. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I was going to say, what if the K...
Yeah, go ahead.
Say that again? I missed that last part, Phil.
So, yeah, my expectation that there's going to be a bumpy reentry after being in the place that's beyond physical, so it's frictionless and amazing, and coming back into the physical, sometimes I think I put the brakes on in a way that's knowing that I'm coming into physical, I'm coming in for landing, so to speak. And it's like, oh shit, get your brakes, put your brakes out, and prepare for landing. And that's a mental model, right? That's my brain going, I need to do this, right? I need to prepare for the world again. And I want to, I want to be embodied and grounded, but I don't want to give up the open-heartedness. I don't want to give up. I want to stay open and alive to new possibilities. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a bunch of stuff I can say.
Yeah, that's what I was getting to. I was like, pick one, because I'm like, well, this is a juicy one.
This is good. This is meaty. Okay. So first of all, anywhere that you've decided that there's a separation there, would you be willing to let that go?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and what if I think it's like a Skype thing that.
Oh, that was
did
me.
You hear that? Oh, that was you again? Oh,
That's
it sounds like a Skype. Okay, never mind. Okay, so, and the other thing, and I do want to talk about re-entry because I've had this experience several times until I made the decision not to do it. So I know exactly what you're talking about. But the other interesting thing that you mentioned is the chaos of reality. And what if what we perceive as chaos isn't actually bad? What if it's just constant differences and things that we make wrong that aren't really wrong? Yeah. So everywhere that you've made chaos wrong and something that you need to navigate and manage, would you be willing to let all of that go now? It's almost like like the movies, the space. I'm somebody will laugh at me, but some kind of Star Trek movie or whatever, or Star Wars, where there's like asteroids. Like they're kind of shuttling through space, and there's all these asteroids. That's what I keep seeing. Like you, this is how you're seeing the world, or like the chaos, right? Like this crazy stuff you have to navigate. And what if it's just not that dramatic, right?
Right.
So,
that's a good one.
Clears for that. Yeah. So the first time I experienced reintegration, I guess, like the expansion and the contraction, was when I went in 2006 to do a course with Doreen Virtue. I did the Angel Therapy Practitioner course. It was like 3 or 4 days. I remember being there and thinking, this is literally heaven on earth. Like, it was so amazing. And you would get your questions answered without even asking them, because everybody was so tapped in. There was like over 400 of us just learning to tap into their awareness, right? And I remember on the way home at the airport just feeling so raw energetically that I just felt everything. And if somebody at the airport called another person stupid, and it was like somebody stabbed me in the stomach, like it was really dramatic. And I was like, what is happening? I didn't understand it. And I got home and my friends told me I had changed, and I was just energetically so different. And after several days, I was back to normal, right? And that happened to me several times over the years, until the last time I'm aware that it really happened was a couple of years ago. And after this class that I took, I could feel myself outside of the body. But I want to talk about that after. But I could feel myself outside of the body, and I thought, I can't smush that back in. Like I could like physically feel it like out here. And I was, I would go to the bathroom and think the body needs to pee. It was like it wasn't me. It wasn't I need to pee, which is how we usually say it. It was the body needs to pee, and I would go to the bathroom. At the same time, I'm totally conscious of how weird that is, and I'm not used to that, and what is that? And here I am feeling like I'm out here, and I cannot squish myself back in. How am I going to function? The words aren't coming. Like I was having a hard time communicating with people. And I remember just consciously choosing, I'm not contracting back. I'm going to make this work. This is friggin' amazing. And it's different, but it's amazing. And I'm not going to contract back. And so I didn't stay completely that way, but I also didn't contract back completely, right? So you have that choice to not do that. Whew. Yeah, so everything that is, whatever that is, I'm just going to clear all of that up. Everywhere that you've decided you're not powerful enough to not contract back, to not just be you in this world. Oh, and everywhere that you've decided that being you in this world is too much for the world.
And anywhere you feel like you have to leave other people behind, that you're not going to be able to communicate with them anymore, and you'll lose everyone and be by yourself because you're too high vibing. And all that go woof.
Yeah. Ugh.
Gross.
That is
we
a
talked
big one.
about
That's
that earlier a little bit. Remember, it just takes a little practice. Being in your awareness when you're contracting back.
Yeah.
Yeah, Phil, that's a very common. When we were talking to the lady before you, we actually talked about that, how so many people will make themselves smaller. In her case, it was out of kindness, quote unquote kindness towards her family, to not be too different. But a lot of times we do that in order to not lose our family and to not be excluded and to not leave them behind or not be left behind and all of this stuff. It's a common dynamic, right? So, but it's not true. I guarantee you, being as different as I am.
You can call the mofos.
You know, does everybody I know get me? No, but I have friends that I've known for decades. I have friends I've had for years. Nobody in my family has abandoned me. I mean, they don't get me. They don't understand what the heck I'm doing, but nobody's abandoned me. And there's the occasional person who probably wasn't a real friend in the first place, who's like, she's getting weird, I'm out. I'm cool with that. I'm okay, because I pick up way more people than I lose.
Yeah.
So
that makes sense.
So all of
flip
that
side. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say all of that stuff around, the reasons why. Yeah. Everywhere you're like creating reasons to not choose to be the greatness of you. All of those reasons. It's almost like I can almost see you. I'm not saying you're doing it consciously, but I can almost see you like picking up reasons out of thin air, like, oh, this one looks good. This one looks good. Let me just, whatever I can find to not like to stop myself from being that, So everything that is, let's just shift all of that now if you want to.
Because I was picking up the flip side of that. And Phil, we kind of talked about this before too, that people were going to abandon us on one side, but the other flip side is you become so bright and sparkly that you sort of become a target for people, where they're like, oh, what can this person do for me? Oh, this person's awesome. They can bring so much light to my life. And then you can kind of feel like you end up being a target. So there is that flip side there that a lot of people end up having. So let's release anywhere you're afraid to be in your full power and choose and let people see you in your greatness, because you're afraid you're going to be a target in any way, shape, or form. Okay?
Yeah. That's a good one to let go of.
And anywhere you still are holding on to just trying to find reasons, like Diane said, let's let go of anywhere you're still holding on to that. And anywhere you might recreate that, because it's kind of fun for you. Because you like to create things, right?
Yep.
And everywhere that you've bought and sold the lie that you have to contract back in any way, let's let all of that go too. Because that's also just a lie. I mean, it's something that So this is what I wanted to talk about. My awareness, it's not, I mean, I'm saying mine, I picked it up and it fits how I view the world. It makes a lot of sense to me that, if you're an infinite being, that your body exists within that infinite beingness, right? This is what I'm going to tell you right now is it's just my point of view. It's my understanding. and it doesn't have to work for you, but it makes a lot of sense to me. It's the best way I've ever understood the body with being a spiritual being. So if you're an infinite being, your body exists within that infinite beingness. So you fill up the body. It's like I was kind of doing this visually last week with my group session. I had a coffee cup, and I said, so if this whole room is the universe, and you're in this whole room, and then here's this vessel, you just, that space that's in the room just fills up the coffee cup.
Yeah.
So you're not, when you're in that space, if you're working with Althea, or if you're doing whatever, and you're feeling like you're not in your body because you're in that different awareness, it's not that you're not necessarily in your body. It's just that you're tapping into this whole other space. You're aware that there's more beyond the body, which there is, but it's not disconnected. It doesn't make you a lesser being in the body. It's not like the parts, the energetic parts that are in the body are any lesser than the energetic parts that are outside the body. Right? And if you think about the analogy of the coffee cup, the energy is just going to be, it's not like, oh, there's like this particular energy is in the coffee cup, and then the rest of the energy is in the room, and there's a separation, and therefore, if you open the lid a bit, that one escapes, and you've got to find that particular molecule and bring it back. No, it's all just like you, right?
Yeah.
So this whole thing of contraction and contracting back into the body, it's just about being in the body. Just fill up the space of your body 100% with you, and be aware of just the entirety of you that exists beyond the body without separation. Does that make sense?
That makes sense. I've the last few weeks, there's been this sort of eerie, maybe eerie is not the right word, but this sort of similar to what you were saying, where it's just like there's a body in me, and the body's in the room, and then the body's talking to this person, and that's been, I've had that experience before years ago, and it comes and goes, and it seems to be getting more grounded and more stable, and so there's a sensitivity also there, physical sensitivity, so that when contraction happens, it's noticed, and because I'm way more sensitive, my whole body is completely opened up, and there's much more light in it than there was, a few years ago, and so that sensitivity you're right. I think filling in the body is a very good pointer, and then bringing attention to those places that are contracting with a very open agenda, very just sort of letting
because when
contraction be within.
When you're contracting, when you're choosing to contract, right? When you're contracting back, it's to fit into the world around you. And when you've managed to expand yourself out of that, I mean, it's a great opportunity to introduce that expansion into the world and to bring something new into the world. And let's create an expanded world instead of contracting back into what already exists.
Yeah.
So the answer to your question is you don't have to contract.
Okay. So I guess, Althea and I worked today on some things around like being clear and being direct. And like there was something, we worked a lot on throat chakra, which was super helpful. And it's still, I can still feel the residue there. I can still feel like some tightness it's the connection between the sort of heart, stomach area to the throat, and that's connected. And so in interaction, with that heightened sensitivity, if there's anything there that can be cleared, I can feel it lingering there. So if you guys are picking up on anything that can be added to that juice of like I don't know. There's something residual there that.
Well, yeah, it's the fear of being you.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
What'd you say? No, it's not that.
I said,
Nope.
yep.
Oh.
Yep. You said yep.
Yep. I mean, the thing is, you're awful. You know that. Sometimes we don't push people, and sometimes you just take whatever time you decide to take to let certain things shift out, and don't make yourself wrong for it. So let's go ahead and breathe into the throat area. Wow, you got a lot of tension up in there. That was all that contracting stuff you chose to do.
Yep.
You chose contraction again. So just breathe into the area.
Oh, I've got something.
Okay. Go ahead.
Again, it's interesting. I don't know if you've been listening to the whole thing, but Althea and I were talking at the beginning of the show about this whole Me Too thing and the conversation around, that most of us women have experienced some kind of, I'm not going to say assault, but most women have experienced some kind of inappropriateness, or at the minimum, like at the, anyway.
Yep.
What I'm getting is that you are trying so hard to be a good guy. I'm not saying trying hard because you're not and you're trying to be, but you're consciously trying to be a good guy. And I hope you're laughing because I'm right. Because anyway.
Yeah, he's awesome. He's wonderful. I was just going to say, you're awful, Phil. You're so bad. You're trying to be super good.
But you're trying so hard to be that good person that you're part of the fear of being you, which again is a very common dynamic, is that we're afraid that if we're us, we're not going to be kind, that if we're us, we're going to choose these awful things, that if we're us, there's going to be, chaos in the world, and you don't want to add to that chaos. If I'm my power, the planet will explode. I will kill people. Like, there's all of these things that, and we may have done in other lifetimes, or that we've, we're lying to ourselves that we would choose those things because other people have. So all of that, let's clear all of that nonsense up, because there's somewhere inside of you, there's a belief that if you allowed yourself to truly be you, you would not be the good guy that you've been choosing. Does that make sense?
That makes total sense. And Althea will laugh at all this because it's so on point.
Okay. Yeah. So just anywhere that you've bought and sold the lies that being you means not being a nice guy or being a bad guy or being a guy that people won't like, would you be willing to just let all of that go now?
Wow, that's a lot.
Just let it go.
Yeah. Yeah, and any contract that you might have signed, just in any life, to that you're somehow responsible for all of the creepy guys and that you've got to make up for them. Will you let that one go too? Let's just break that contract.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, that's hilarious. You creator of creepy guys, Phil?
I don't know what that god looks like, but
that's awesome.
I don't know if you guys have seen Big Mouth, but
Big Mouth? What is that?
On Netflix? Oh my god!
It's a cartoon, isn't it?
It's familiar.
The cartoon is amazing, and it's about teenagers who have their hormone monsters that run their lives, and they pop into the show, and I imagine that the foundation of creepy guys, one of the characters in there is definitely related, at least.
I'll have to watch that.
Yeah, I'll have to see what that's all about.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Funny.
Oh, okay, that's a lot lighter now.
Yeah, I think that's a good one. That one's tied into like female, male dissonance. There's something that I've been honing in on around that, like that my relationship with women that's been unfolding for quite a while, and so unraveling. So that would make sense, that tension there.
Yeah, and anywhere that you have been that creepy guy, would you be willing to let all of that go now? Just send love, light, and healing to every lifetime where you've been that creepy guy.
Yes.
There's a lot of guilt and shame there. So, yeah, a lot of guilt and shame there. So let's let all of that go now. Just send a lot of light and love to all of those lifetimes.
Yeah.
Because again, those stories don't have to matter, right? We don't have to give meaning to those stories of what we did in other lifetimes. So they hang on energetically because that's how we've been functioning. But when you choose to just go, oh, great, I did that, acknowledge it, and then just, okay, done. Because you're an infinite being, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You're just a coffee cup. Oh.
Extra large.
That was a creepy movie, Copycat.
No, coffee cup. The coffee cup in the space.
I heard copycat. We're talking about creepy dudes, so that's where my mind went.
There are a few sticky lifetimes where they're not wanting to let go because they're just convinced that they were so bad that they can't let that go.
Yeah. I'm feeling it thick in my throat right now. So.
Yeah, it's like woo. Stomach, chest.
So Phil, could you please talk to those dudes and explain who you are, and just tell them who you are. Tell them that you're them. You're from the future. You're another lifetime. It doesn't have to be future or backwards. It can be linear. Just tell them who you are and say, look, guys, it's good. It's okay. You know, we don't have to hang on to this because we have another opportunity in this lifetime, and this shit is holding me back.
Yeah. This shit is holding me back, guys. Let's go.
I'm changing this.
And you can even, Phil, you can invite them to come with you to accompany you in this lifetime, to be the kindness, to be the generosity, to be the greatness, to be the expansion, to be the difference in the world, and show them something different, and give them the chance to be a contribution, if they want to. Otherwise, they can just, they can just go.
I love that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's how you build your team, man.
Hell yeah.
Build it or you get cut. Cutting them out of the team.
Let's go, boys. Let's go, boys. Enough. No more suffering.
Woo. Yeah. Oh, that's nice.
No more torture.
That's good.
Wow.
Yeah. And anywhere that we're living in the polarity of good and bad, of right and wrong, let's let all of that go now.
Wow.
And any contracts that you made in those lifetimes, any contracts that you made with any of the victims, to, yeah, I know, to recreate anything or live out anything or duplicate anything in this lifetime? Will you just break those contracts now? Just tear them up? Yeah. Go back to the moment before you signed those contracts and just make a different choice. Whoa.
Man, it feels like we're clearing for people other than him. I had something like this earlier in the week, Phil. Wow.
Oh, my goodness. Oh. Ugh. Wow. How's it feeling for you? Is it good for you?
My mind went there. Everyone who knows me knows that. It just did.
And then I said it.
How is this feeling for you, Phil? Are you enjoying this?
Feels good. So far, so good.
Whew. And so how's your throat?
Much better.
I got another one for you.
Okay.
Anywhere that you, I'm going to say decided, but, Althea's gone all of a sudden.
Althea needed some water.
I looked away and you were gone. It was just funny. She just dissipated into another paradigm.
Dissipated for water.
Anywhere that you've decided that you have to express all your truth. So this is going to sound contradictory to what I was saying before, which is, be you, be yourself, be your, be who you be the expansiveness that you be, the difference that you be. But there's this kind of energy of wanting to express all your truth in order to help the planet or help the world. And I just like wanting to say, sometimes you have to pull that back a little bit. You don't always have to say everything and be everything. You don't have to be everybody's savior, right?
Yeah. Okay. That's good.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah. That's what gets me worn out, and that's what gets me beyond my healthy boundaries and gets me into areas where I feel overwhelmed or extended physically, mentally, energetically. Okay. Not good. That's that boundary line, I think.
Okay, great. So any contracts that you've signed, promises that you've made and vows, there's vows there. Yeah. Anytime something religious comes up, it's like, whoa. So any promises, contracts, vows that you've signed, that you've agreed to being the savior, to saving people. Yeah. Super gross. Will you destroy all of those now?
Yeah.
Undo all of that? Yeah.
Brilliant.
Part of that was probably because of the other stuff that we've cleared, where you were the creep and then you kind of like went around and it's like, now I have to save people. Yep. So we're just cutting all of those ties, and just releasing all of that story that doesn't mean anything anymore. So again, if you're functioning from the space of you being an infinite being, none of those stories matter, right? The energy's still there. So we just want to clear all of that. And sometimes having the awareness of it is good too, to sort of, excuse me, my nose is leaking. Sometimes it's good to have the awareness so that you are aware of what's changing in you and what you're choosing different. When you don't have the awareness, it's easy to go back to the old pattern, even if it's been cleared. You can still choose the old pattern, right? Go back to it.
That's interesting.
So all of the What if you destroyed and uncreated your relationship with women?
Yeah,
Ooh.
that's a good one.
And do that often. Like, do it a lot. Like, every day. I'm destroying and uncreating my relationship with women. I'm destroying and uncreating my relationship with women. Destroying and uncreating my relationship with women. Destroying and uncreating my relationship with women. Whoa.
Oh,
destroying and uncreating my relationship with women. I'm destroying and uncreating my relationship with women. And I'm just going to I'm just going to do some clearing, some cutting of ties between you and women across all lifetime, space, and dimensions. Clearing all of that junk.
Wowza.
Because it doesn't matter whether you did it out of kindness or not kindness. What happens is you're still stuck with all of these cords and strings and ropes and attachments that aren't allowing you to just be who you be, right? Which might not be the savior.
Choose beyond the savior.
Yeah.
All right. We have one more caller. We have like 10 minutes if they want to chat real quick. So we'll just see.
Okay. So let me just finish this out.
Drop in the savior stuff. Wow. Breathe, Phil. Breathe. Whew.
Ugh. Yeah.
Shake that off. You may need a bubble bath, a hot tub, a spray down with a fire hose. That's some sticky stuff.
Yeah.
My goodness.
How's your throat now?
It's better. I can still feel a little stickiness there, but it might just be hydration. I've been breathing in a lot of Northern California smoke. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll need to hydrate after this. I should have hydrated more after our afternoon session.
I told you you'd need extra water.
I'll drink more. After. I'll let you guys get to your next caller too. But
and Mr. Savior, Phil the Savior, can you on the topic of saving, you might want to make sure that you're not breathing in smoke for other people too.
I had to clear someone of that earlier today. Yeah, same area. Let's stop doing that. Yeah, no need to do all that.
You also don't have to do it because other people are doing it. So talk to your body and see how much of it you can avoid or not inhale. You don't have to do it because other people are doing it.
Yeah.
And you don't have to do it for them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool?
Cool.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much, Phil. Super awesome.
Bye.
Yay.
Keep up the good work.
Bye.
Keep up the good work. All right. Bye, guys.
Bye. Thank you. Very cool. All right.
So let's go to Grant. This is Grant that we know. We have 8 minutes left. Oh my God.
Let's let Grant talk. He always calls at the last few minutes.
Okay, I'm going to go to sleep now because it's almost midnight. Okay, you talk, Grant. Take over.
Hello? I don't know if he's there yet. We'll see. Is anyone there?
Sorry, I had my phone muted. Hello.
All right.
Can you hear me now?
That helps to not mute the phone.
Do we have some throat issues as well?
Well, I could honestly relate to the last call that was just going on there. The idea of actually, because if I understood correctly, it's a possibility that maybe someone takes on more than their fair share. Not that I've ever done that before in my whole life.
No, nobody does. Yeah.
Nobody does that.
Over responsibility. That's something I've been working on for decades.
Mm-hmm. You willing to stop doing that now? Elsie and I are like, you want to stop?
Yeah, you want to clear some of that up? The over responsibility?
If you guys can help me clear out some of the over responsibility, I would love that.
I don't know, Elsie. He's been doing it for decades. He could still do it for another few decades,
Do you really want to let it go?
I'm okay with that too, actually.
Are you where that was Phil the Savior? Are you Grant the Savior? Do you have that coding, oath, vows, commitments? All right, let's get it out. Let's get all that out. Mofo magic time. Whew. Breathe. Let's clear up anywhere you're unwilling to receive, because you are a giver, Grant. You love giving. I know that one.
Of course I am.
Recovering over giver, but it's the thing of like over giving, sacrificing, and not allowing yourself to receive.
Grant, I know this is going to sound like I'm being funny, but I'm being very serious as I'm laughing. Do you like, it's just going to sound really funny because it's just random, but are you a tree hugger? Do you like hugging trees?
I don't necessarily hug trees, but I do love trees.
Althea's making a face. She's like, I told you it was random.
I have a tendency to go and actually grab a tree from time to time these days. But as far as hugging them goes, no, I don't think I've actually offered love that way.
Well, I mean, you don't have to have sex with it. Just lean up against it and receive from the tree. Sex with a tree?
I'm really not sure about that. I am perfectly okay with receiving from a tree. Actually,
hey, it's almost midnight. I can start talking like this.
Wow, that just changed the whole tone. Okay.
Yeah, no. Really, I'm just getting the message for you to. It's almost like the trees want to give to you. So take some time and just, if you don't, I mean, I've done it. I don't care, but I'll just put my hands. I can't necessarily hug it, but I'll just put my hands on the tree and just receive from it. And I think
I do that on a regular basis.
Pardon?
Say that
again. I do that on a regular basis. Plus I do the regeneration of communion with the earth. And actually, currently, I'm in a nice small town that's got an awful lot of nature kicking around it. So I think if anything, it's like that's definitely something I'm leaning into currently.
But when you're doing the communing with the earth, is it not like about giving to the this is not about you being for the planet or giving energy to the planet. This is about you receiving from the trees because they have stuff to give to you.
Communion. So basically, what happens is they give to me, I give to them. So it's both ways.
I know, but you need to listen to what I'm saying. This is not about you giving to them. Okay? So this is going to be an exercise in you just receiving.
Yeah.
How do you recommend I do that?
Say that again? It's hard to hear you, Grant.
How do you recommend I do that?
How do I recommend you do that?
Because I'm used to the idea of the communion, but it sounds like you're recommending something else. So.
Right, exactly. I want you
fully receive. Like, stop trying to make it about the earth, the trees, and everyone else because you give, and allow yourself to receive and catch yourself when you're constantly reflipping it to, receiving actually means giving, but it's not. Because even as you're standing there with the trees, the energy I'm picking up is you're standing there touching trees, but you're not allowing yourself to really be gifted by the trees. It's a very different energy, and maybe you're not familiar with that at all. So can we bring in what that feels like, what that would be like, that energy of allowing yourself to receive from the trees? Can we just do that? Is that okay?
Well,
no?
Well, I'm just curious. Like, actually, if we're in for a small walk, I can actually walk outside right now and actually try a tree.
Sure, go touch the tree. That would be awesome. You can just go outside and touch a tree.
We've got 3 minutes. I just want to be conscious of the time because we have to make sure we
can
bow
pull in
out on time.
Yeah, we're going to bow out on time. We may cut you off, but keep touching that tree and receiving from it.
So this is the thing I wanted to tell you, Grant, the reason I wanted to tell you this too, it's twofold. So on the one hand, the trees desire to give to you, right? There are things that the trees want to give to you and communicate to you. I don't know what they are, but the other part of it, the flip side of it, is for you to learn to receive without giving. So it's twofold. They actually have contributions for you, and at the same time, it's for you to learn to receive. So just lean into it. If you're going to touch the tree, just lean into the tree and just be with it without you trying to do something, and just allow yourself to receive whatever it is wow. Whew. There's a peace There's a peacefulness that the trees want to impart to you. And if that's the only thing you can get from the trees, then receive that. The peace of just being. Because, I mean, look at how beautiful the trees are, and they don't really do shit, right? Like, they're not moving.
They're definitely gifting.
They're just being, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no requirement for them to go and actually do anything other than just be, right?
Right. And so just
They'll offer you
receive
the shade, they'll offer you
the peace of just being.
We're at the 1 minute mark. Just a warning. Keep receiving from the trees. So beautiful and pretty and feels so nice.
You can obviously feel it.
It feels
I can
so
feel it.
lovely. It's so
It's amazing.
beautiful.
Yeah.
I love trees.
I'm feeling that too.
The thing where I am right now, there's like a dozen of them in the backyard within like, what was that, a minute away?
They're so
I really
happy.
wanted to walk.
They're
I'd be in the
dancing.
middle of the forest.
Yes, you're in a freaking
All right.
forest. Receive.
We're going to have to sign out. Grant, thank you so much for calling, and keep receiving from the trees.
I appreciate the feedback.
Thank you, everybody.
Have an amazing night, guys.
Thank you.
Bye. Althea, let's check.
What are we doing?
High five. Wow, we did it.
Yeah, we did it.